Here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you.
An act like the SAVE Act is very likely more aimed at voter suppression and at keeping key demographics that the Republican Party does not want voting to not show out and vote. I think very often minorities.
What's up? What's up, YouTube? What's up, fam? MMP fam. Check this out. This cat, this young white gentleman, looks relatively young. I would say somewhere in his mid-20s to possibly early to mid-40s. This panel is probably within that age range. Why does this young man, at his age, where does he get the idea that our community lacks the know-how to reacquire ID, to know where to go get ID, to get a birth certificate? Why are these misnomers and myths in the mind of these people? Why do they believe that this is true? For him to say this on a Fox News, to come on a panel, knowing he's coming on a panel to offer his best perspective of the SAVE Act. This panel is here to talk about the SAVE Act and how it may disenfranchise some voters and why it may disenfranchise some voters. And he's going to get a rebuttal from a young Republican sister, and she's going to just say,
that's not true.
No. So this is the thing where the suggestion is it's going to keep the black vote down. I've got two black panelists here. Ajwa?
That's not true.
Do you have ID and proof of citizenship?
Yeah, and if I need a copy of my birth certificate, it's just a matter of going online or going up to the department and asking for it and showing my information to get it.
Speaking as a former Democrat, I'm going to date myself. I was a Democrat for 35 and a half years. From the time I was able to vote for the next 35 and a half years, somewhere around 2018, the summer of 2018, I began to see the Democratic Party for who they were, because they had evolved and changed to something I did not recognize. The Democratic Party used to stand for things that made common sense. Now they seem to be taking the side of the 20%. They take the worst. They take the side that most people with common sense won't even conceive of. The things the Democratic Party is saying today, 20 to 30 years ago, they were saying the polar opposite. They were saying the polar opposite. You're going to see, if you're a YouTube follower and you watch a lot of content on YouTube or Rumble or these other social platforms, TikTok, etc., you're going to start to see old clips of these same Democrats who've been in Congress for decades, 20, 30, 40 years, saying the same things year after year after year after year. The Democrats need something to run on. They don't want to fix anything, because that's what they need to run on the next election cycle. See, if you really watch and monitor and observe the Democrats for who they are, they don't fix anything. They talk about fixing things. They don't have any intention on fixing anything, because they want to run. If you watch the Democrats really, really closely, they like to run against their opponent. They never say what they would want to do. They will say, I'm not this other person. This is why you should vote for me. I don't think like him. And this is why, because he thinks like this is how it's going to impact you. But they never have any fresh ideas about how they want to fix things. Here's another thing about the Democratic Party. They create problems so they can say they're able to fix them. Let me say that again. The Democratic Party creates problems. Remember the Inflation Reduction Act? Remember that? They caused that problem, and then they're going to come up with a bill to fix it, which is really a lot of pork projects to continue to fund these fraudulent NGO organizations that they're sending. It is so much money from taxpayers being sent abroad. The money is astonishing how much tax dollars are being spent abroad that we didn't even know about. Thank God President Trump won this election. Do you think Kamala Harris a Kamala Harris administration would have exposed this? Do you think they would have closed the borders? It would be more and more and more illegal immigrants, crime, high prices, high houses. The housing market is so far way off. The people that sell their house are not going to even able to buy another house. It is crazy. And guess who created it all? The Democratic Party. And guess who say they can fix it? The Democratic Party. And here's another thing, and I want to close with this. The Democratic Party needs racism to run on. You know what the problem with the Democratic Party right now, before 2026 election, the midterms come up? They don't have their George Floyd, their Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. They need something racially motivated, racially charged, racially incendiary to run on. Like the cops, look at the cops in New York that was hit by all those snowballs by colored young men. Now, if that had been if these would have been African American, black, colored, Negro officers being snowballed by white kids, oh my God. Cap News Network and nothing but Cap would have aired that all day, every segment of every show they show on their network. But they don't have that right now. And God forbid someone gives it to them, because the Democrats are starving for a racially charged moment in society so they can pretend to be the champions of racism when we clearly see in this video who the racists really are.
I mean, to say that it would negatively affect a minority group because they're somehow not educated enough to get these documents is completely outrageous.